Hello again. Today I'm making butternut squash puree. It's a Colombian recipe called Zamba De Zapallo. Let's get to it. I already done all the slicing, so these are the ingredients. First, squash. There is 2 small squash here. I'm aiming to make 4 portions. I always aim for 4 portions. For puree, I usually cut the squash in half and boil it with the skin until tender. And then it's very easy to just peel the skin and do the rest. This time I decided to peel the skin and slice it before I boil it. It's very hard that way. Anyways, the original recipe for Zamba De Zapallo has boiled eggs. I'm gonna use tofu instead, and I'm gonna air fry it. So it's gonna be vegan. Tomato, these are Plum tomatoes. Green onions, and this is for the very end. Once everything is ready, I will add this at the very end. This is cilantro and red onions. Black pepper, garlic, and salt. Oh, one idea, if you like pumpkin seeds, you will like the squash seeds. So all you need to do is let them dry, and then you can roast them and put some salt, and it's really good. Okay, now I have the squash with water and salt in this pot, and I'm gonna boil it until tender. Meanwhile, I'm gonna work on the sauce that I'm gonna add to it. Okay, now I'm gonna make the sauce. I'm gonna use a little bit of olive oil. I think that's fine. And I'm gonna let it warm a little bit. I'm also making forbidden rice for this dish. Once it's warm enough, we can add the green onion. And the garlic. I usually use insane amounts of garlic. I love garlic. And we let it fry a little bit before we add the tomato. I like to kind of introduce the ingredients one by one instead of everything together. Okay, once the green onions look kind of like this, you can add the tomato. And add a little bit of salt. That's enough. And some black pepper. we can let it be there. And we can let it sit there for a while. Make sure the temperature is not too high. Once the sauce looks like this, it is done. This is why I like to use plum tomatoes, because they are very juicy and they really blend. In Colombia, in Cali, where I'm from, we call this hogao, and we use it for many dishes. Okay, so this is done, and I'm gonna work on the tofu now. I'm gonna air fry the tofu. You can use anything to fry the tofu. You can fry it just in a pan or whatever, the way you wanted to do it. I want to do it air fry, and I'm gonna use the Puree again for that. So this is what I found works for tofu. So air crisp, I don't know why it does that. 360, and I warm it up for 6 minutes before I put the tofu in. So I'm just gonna let it warm up. Well, the fryer is warming up. Gonna do something to the tofu. I like to use firm tofu for this because we're gonna mix it with the puree. So to get it fried properly, you need to get it as dry as you can. So what I do is I just place them in a couple paper towels. And then I just put it back in the bowl. Actually, I should dry the bowl. That's a good idea. So you can also add a little bit of oil and very carefully just stir it. Now let's see what is going on with the squash. Needs to be very tender. I think it's great. Now I'm gonna drain it and place it in here to smash it. So I'm gonna use something like this I drain it, but there is still water at the bottom. So I'm just gonna use this to avoid getting the water. Now, just gonna smash it very well. I think it's enough. I think it's good. So now I'm gonna check on the tofu. Okay, the tofu is ready. This is kind of the way you want it to look like when you air fry it. Now let's mix everything. So let's start with the ogao. And just like introducing the ingredients one by one, I'm gonna mix this first. And now I'm gonna add the tofu. So now it's possible to stir the tofu with the squash because it's not gonna break and melt and finally we're gonna add the red onions and the cilantro, and this gives the puree a really nice aroma because of the cilantro and something crisp to bite when you're eating it. I found that really nice. I like it. The only thing I done this before, the only thing new is that I'm using tofu for the protein. When I used to be a meat eater, I used to make it with meat, with beef. I never really used eggs for this. I just found that weird because when you mix it, when you stir it, it just breaks. So this is the first time that I'm making it with tofu. Ta-da! Okay, let's serve. I am going to serve this puree with forbidden rice. This is purple rice, I think it's called, and you can buy it from an Asian market. It's delicious. It's so good. Okay, let's try it. It's delicious. Oh yeah.